Tonight on Joy News Prime, 8 people died Thursday in a motor accident. The driver of the vehicle which crashed is blaming on a chop box he says dropped from a vehicle ahead of his. Initial investigations by the police suggest the driver could be making up the story of how the crash occurred. We'll bring you the very latest. The driver adds to a worrying number of fatalities on the country's roads this year, with 417 lives lost in just the first 2 months. The Borno East Region Police Command has commenced investigations into the murder of a top Islamic cleric, Sheikh Ali Ahmed Maikano Kalamu, at the hands of suspected armed robbers.
After we brought the body to the morgue at the hospital, the police went back to the scene looking for pieces of evidence.
The National Democratic Congress is linking the murder to what it says is a growing state of insecurity in the country it wants government to address. Investigators from the Economic and Organized Crimes Office are on the hunt for multiple agents linked to the baby harvesting and selling syndicate said to be trading in newborns of unsuspecting mothers in Ghana and abroad.
All the persons who had one way or the other to do with the case has been arrested and granted Yoko inquiry bail.
In business, rating agency Fitch could review Ghana's credit rating of B, saying the high cost of government's debt burden is an important rating weakness. And the minority is threatening to vote against approval of the 2021 budget unless government addresses its concerns with the policy document. My name is Israel Lai. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our studios at Kokomlimli here in Accra, on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in. Now, first story, 8 people were killed Thursday in a motor accident. The driver of the vehicle, which crashed, is blaming on a chop box he says fell onto the highway from another vehicle. 20 other persons were injured in the accident on the outskirts of Sala in the Sala-Tunakaba district of the Savannah region, involving a Kumasi-bound minibus which took off from Wa. Now, Savannah region correspondent Isaac Nonya joins me via Zoom with more on this tragic accident. Now, Isaac, please explain how this incident occurred, especially how it didn't involve 2 vehicles crashing into each other as often happens.
Yes, Israel, for now, the police have one account from the accident's vehicle's driver, Muhammad Sakara. And based on that, his account is that he was moving and then the Samsung vehicle came over, took his vehicle. And a few minutes after that overtaken, a chop box that the vehicle was carrying fell from top and he ran into the chop box, resulting in the bursting of his tire, the front tire, and then veered off the road and then found himself in the bush. Now, having gotten himself into the bush, he realized that 6 other passengers on board the vehicle, including his driver mate, Bashiru Mahama, all died on the spot. So he found his way to the police to lodge this complaint. And when the police got to the spot, according to the Sola District Police Commander, ASP Ajay Digra Johnson, he said that there was no any trace of any chop box, neither the said vehicle that was carrying the chop box. So they believe that the driver is framing up stories that they cannot contest now. But I tried to find out from him whether they were on a mission the police was not able to ask any of the victims that received treatment or not. And the commander said, based on the nature of the injuries, they did not want to disturb the victims for now because they are within their domain and they will definitely get to know the truth. Two of those who died while on a mission is a second-year student of Dorman Senior High in Ashanti region. The name the police is keeping to themselves. They don't want to bring it out for now. But the other vehicle is still at the accident scene, and all the other 6 bodies are currently in the mortuary at Wa in the Upper West region.
All right, so there was an important update that you gave earlier, which was 6 persons died on the spot, and then 2 of the persons who survived the accident but were injured later on succumbed to their injuries. That's the case, right?
That's the case, because the other 6 that died on the spot, as I said earlier on, their causes are currently in Wa. The other 2 were receiving treatment and later on passed on. We also just got information that 50 others who are still on admission are likely to be moved to Damango Hospital or Tamale Teaching Hospital tomorrow.
Now, the vehicle you're talking about is supposed to take 23 passengers, but from the number of people who have died and the number that we're learning are in hospital, we're having about 28 people in all. Is it that the vehicle is carrying more passengers than it was supposed to?
Israel, the stories from the driver and that of the police are not adding up. In the sense that if they were 23, supposing the vehicle picks the exact number 23, and if 6 died on the spot, and 22 are on a mission, what is the number? It's about 28.
That's 28.
Now we are told this evening that 15 were on a mission and 6 died on the spot this evening. Now, out of these 15, 2 died, leaving 13. So the exact number, take off the driver and his mate, and see how many people the car will be carrying along. So the police, per their investigation with those who are still on a mission, will be able to tell the exact number the car was carrying.
All right, certainly it looks like we're having some conflicting figures as far as the number of passengers on the vehicle and the number of casualties. But the 8 lives lost in the tragic accident on the outskirts of Saola adds to the growing number of fatalities on the country's roads this year. We have lost Isaac Nonya, but Seth Kwame Boateng is a member of the National Arrive Alive Task Force, and he joins me with some very harrowing statistics as far as accidents and road fatalities are concerned. Now, Seth, from what the stats you're sharing with me earlier, you're saying that 517 people have died in the first 2 months of this year. Exactly how... Where is the source of the stats, first of all? All right, Seth, I want you to unmute so you can we can hear you. So I want you to run us through the stats that you're talking about and the fact that 517 people have died in just the first 2 months of this year. All right, we're having a challenge with Seth's connection, but we'll get to Seth. But Isaac Nonya is still on the line with us. So Isaac, what's the police doing about the situation, or what's the way forward as far as the investigations are concerned?
The way forward, according to the police, is for them to unravel the mystery surrounding this accident first, and secondly, they want to have a meeting with the Road and Highway Minister or the regional director of highways to see how within the township or right after the township, they could put up some remedies like speed ramps for vehicles to slow down when they are entering or exiting town. The second thing is that the Saola Tunakalba District Assembly, we are told they will equally be meeting with the police to find a way out to be able to reduce or slow down some of these accidents within the district. If you look at between Bamboy and Saola, the highway accidents within the highways from last year up to now have been the increase. Just last month, there were 2 accidents between Bamboy, and Mbole, and now Sola. If you move a bit away from Sola Township, those areas, the speed ramps are not there, and we also experience accident in that corridor.
All right.
So if they're able to meet the district assembly together with the highway authorities, I think they'll find a remedy to some of these things.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Isaac Nonya, bringing us that update on that accident, a tragic road accident in which we're learning that 8 people have died. Seth Kwame Boateng is a member of the National Arrive Alive Task Force, and he has been going through the statistics as far as road fatalities are concerned. And Seth, so I'd want you to take a look or walk us through the stats for the first 2 months of the year. That 517 people have died in just the first 2 months of the year?
Yes, just between January and February this year, we've lost 517 lives. But if let's compare this figure to same time last year. Last year, between January and February, we recorded 393 deaths. So we have 124 more people dying just between January and February this year as compared to last year. And out of this figure, we had about 502,766 injuries for this year. And last year, we had little below this figure, which is high. But what scares me is that when you listen to road safety people and the police, they'll tell you that approximately we are losing 6 lives a day to road traffic accidents. But from the figures we have this year, it appears we are losing about 9 lives every day to road traffic accident in Israel. And this is very scary.
You're saying that compared to what we had last year we had 6 lives being lost a day. Now it's gone up to around 9 using the first 2 months of the year.
Exactly, per the figures that we have, because the statisticians will tell you that averagely we lose about 6 lives every day to road traffic accidents. When you compare this to the world, every year, or worldwide, every 24 seconds, we lose a life to road accident. Every 24 seconds, every day in the world. But in Ghana, it's 6 lives. But per the figures we have this year, it appears we are losing approximately 9 lives a day to road traffic accidents in Israel. And this is scary.
And
what?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'm listening. And the reason we have to place much premium on this is that it is costing us 1.6% of our GDP. 1.6% of our GDP. And it translates into $800 million every year. So we are using this amount of money to take care of the patients, those who go on admission, because most often, anytime there's an accident, you hear government come out to say that I'll foot the bills of the patient. And in all this and our road infrastructure, the destruction and everything, we are spending approximately 800 million every year to fix these things.
All right.
That's how serious it is, Israel.
All right, Seth, I know that you are with the National Arrive Alive Task Force. What exactly is being done to address, these high number of fatalities on the country's roads?
Israel, they have indeed intensified education. Is the reason nationwide we have this Arrive Alive campaign ongoing, where a number of media houses have come on board. They have joined Multimedia Group and the National Road Safety Authority to do this. I know that government has retooled the National Road Safety Authority. They have, in fact, increased their budget, but the education has to be intensified more. Also, I know that they are in the process of getting some equipment for the police, equipment that will help them check speeding on our roads. But Israel, if we do all these things without dualizing our roads, we are doing nothing. Because if you watch or if you study the accidents that we keep recording, they are happening on good roads, not on bad roads. And most of these good roads are single carriage roads. So imagine a driver going 80 kilometers per hour, colliding with another one going 80 kilometers per hour. The collision, the impact is 160. And you are likely to lose almost everybody on board. So we may intensify education, we may do all these things, but if we don't dualize our roads, we are doing that in Israel. And that is what I think we have to push.
Now, Seth, I also know that you're working on a documentary having to do with the road carnage. What can you share with us about that?
So the title is Road to the Grave, and I am chronicling all these things. I'm looking at the impact of road accidents on the economy. I'm speaking to victims, parents who have lost children, drivers who have been trapped in vehicles for hours and have been amputated. I'm chronicling all these things to really highlight how we are losing lives, how we are losing young ones. And the raw motorbike, Israel, that is what is scaring most people now. The number of people we are losing to road traffic accidents from motorcycle accidents, that is crashes, that is serious. Out of the 2,589 lives that we lost last year, 1,056 came from motorbike crashes. It tells you how serious the situation is, Israel.
Thank you very much, Seth Kwame Boateng. And we have some of the stats that we have been sharing with you. I just ran you through some of the statistics. As you can see on the screen, 974 or 1,581 commercial vehicles were involved in the accidents in just the first 2 months of the year. And we also have 2,560 cases reported. And these are the cases that have been reported. There obviously could be more accidents that probably may not have been reported. And if you look at the regional distribution, the Ashanti region happens to have the highest number of road fatalities, 108 in all. And then we have the Eastern region with 90, followed by the Eastern region with 91, and then the Greater Accra region with 89. And we're talking about just the first 2 months of the year, January and February. Now, moving on to other stories. The Bono East Regional Police Command has commenced investigations into the murder of a top Muslim cleric with a Tijaniya sect who was shot and killed by suspected armed robbers. Sheikh Ali Ahmed Maikano Kalamu was killed at about 7 p.m. Tuesday on the Abromasi Road near Yeji in the Pru East district. He was such a prominent figure in Islamic circles. Vice President Mamadou Bamia expressed shock at his death, describing him as a unifier. Our correspondent Anas Sabit has been speaking with the regional police commander, DCOP Asumedu Ochre Dako, and has filed the following report.
Bono East Regional Police Commander DCOP Esumadu Ochre Dako narrates to Joy News how the late Muslim cleric Kalamul Faida Sheikh Ali Abdullahi Mekano was shot and killed by suspected armed robbers on the Abromasi Road.
We had a report from Yeji police that last night about 8:30, one man called Abdul Mumuni, he came to the station there with a report that at about 7 p.m. he was traveling with the victim on a motorbike from a village called Kajevu towards Yeji, and they got to a section of the road where they saw that some people had emerged from the bush and then fired at them. According to Momoni, he actually was able to escape, leaving behind the victims. So he rushed to the station. Police accompanied him to the point where he claimed they had been shot at, and they found the victim who had sustained a gunshot on the right leg, and he was actually dead. So they took him and brought him to the Yeji government hospital for preservation.
The Regional Police Command has, however, commenced investigations into the matter and assures the family and the public that the perpetrators will be brought to book.
We have started investigation. We have been, after we we brought the body to the morgue at Yegi Hospital. The police went back to the scene looking for pieces of evidence, and we have started talking to informants for possible clues that can help us arrest the suspects.
DCOP Ochre Darko called on the bereaved family and the general public to remain calm as the police increases surveillance on the major road networks within the region.
We want to tell the general public, including the family, that we are doing our best. We are working around the clock to get the perpetrators arrested. We have also increased patrols on that road, and we have put on these roads more snap checkpoints. Yes, we are also doing escort of some vehicles. So the measures are in place, and we are hoping that we achieve our goal of reducing robbery incidents to the barest minimum in the region.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Tichiman.
In a related development, the National Democratic Congress is demanding investigations into the death of the cleric. The leadership in a statement describes him as a renowned and devoted Muslim cleric who carried himself with dignity and commanded great respect among the Islamic community. The NDC considers the news report that the Sheikh met his untimely demise in an armed robbery attack as most painful, suspicious and worrying, as it further goes to deepen the general state of insecurity in the country. We use this opportunity to urge the President to direct the Ministry of Interior to launch a full-scale investigation into the sad event that led to the death of the Sheikh, apprehend the perpetrators of the dastardly act, and offer true justice to his memory and the bereaved family. We demand, as a matter of urgency, that the Kufuor Bawumia administration takes immediate steps to deal with the growing spate of armed robbery attacks, the rampant cases of murder, and the general state of insecurity in the country. There can neither be progress or development in Ghana without peace. The NDC wishes to express its deepest condolences and sincere sympathies to the Jallow family, the Tijaniya fraternity, and the entire Muslim community for their loss. Investigators from the Economic and Organized Crimes Office are on the hunt for multiple agents linked to a baby harvesting and selling syndicate set to be trading in newborns of unsuspecting mothers in Ghana and abroad. At least 4 babies have been rescued from the syndicate after a joint operation with the Medical and Dental Council in some health facilities in the Greater Accra region, and some doctors involved have had their licenses suspended. 11 persons have so far been arrested. We have details of the latest arrests and plans to track down the ringleaders. We first bring you this report, first aired in January, on an operation to track those involved in the crime.
A.M. on the morning of 31st December 2020, the last day of the year. As many people prepared to bid farewell to one year and welcome another, somewhere at the Tema General Hospital within the Tema metropolis, a baby was about seeing the last of his biological mother. In motion on that fateful day was the sale of a 1-month-old baby boy by an organized baby-selling cartel. This syndicate is made up of several people, including doctors, nurses, and social welfare officers, among others, all of whom are entrusted with the responsibility of providing assistance to mothers and their newly born babies. Their operations had been on the radar of the Medical and Dental Council for a while, and today the council has teamed up with the officers from Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, to foil one of such illegal transactions. The Connect, Leonard Able, an officer at the head office of the Department of Social Welfare, had already taken 10,000 Ghana cedis as a deposit for the baby, who he was selling at 28,000 Ghana cedis from a woman in need of a baby. not knowing she was an undercover officer with Yoko. The Joy News team was embedded in the operation and filmed from a distance as Mr. Able went to collect the baby and accompanied the female undercover officer to a vehicle. This was the point of arrest. Leonard Able was arrested and the baby retrieved. On-site interrogations revealed Mr. Able was not alone. His accomplices, a nurse only identified as Nancy, and the head of the social welfare at the hospital, also referred to as Auntie Doris, had heard of the arrest and immediately bolted.
Well, Yoko and the Medical and Dental Council Thursday held a news conference where they gave an update on the operation so far. Kwekwa Santo was there for Joy News.
Baby selling and child trafficking becoming a booming business in Ghana, although an illegal enterprise. Under the cover of darkness, babies are stolen from their mothers right after birth and sold. The Economic and Organized Crime Office and the Medical and Dental Council have been engaged in a joint operation to unravel this blight on the nation's conscience. According to Executive Director of Yoko, Frank Edupoku, 3 of the babies who were sold have been rescued, with 1 still under investigation.
Additional arrests have been made. 4 petitions, and in fact, I'm told as of yesterday, 2 other petitions had been sent to the office. And when we talk of petitions, we are talking of supposed victims who have had their child or children taken away from them, coming to make a case for us to investigate.
The dockets on the investigations will be sent to the Attorney General's office for advice and prosecution.
Arrest of Dr. Hope Kwashi Mensah, the notorious Susan Clinic. We mentioned Dr. Hope Kwashi Mensah as the one at the center of a syndicate based at Susan Clinic at Atabi Okoshi. And as you speak now, all the persons who had one way or the other to do with the case have been arrested and granted Yoko inquiry bail. The docket on Dr. Hope Kwashi Mensah, so far as the Susan Clinic is concerned, is almost ready, and we are just about submitting it to the Attorney General's office for advice and prosecution.
Yoko does not believe it should extend the investigations to other regions immediately.
This is a specialized type of investigation, and if you are not careful and you decide that all the regions should be involved in it, we are going to lose track of it, because we are very comfortable here because we are working hand in hand with the Medical and Dental Council. So going forward, if we're able to establish that relationship with all the regional, maybe dental, I don't know whether they have even offices in the regions, then we can maybe expand our investigations.
The medical officers involved have their suspensions still in effect.
Statutory 30-day notice of suspension was issued, and this statutory notice period has since elapsed. The legal effect is that the 2 medical officers, their licenses have been effectively suspended until the conclusion of investigations.
The practice where mothers give birth but do not see their babies and are told their kids are dead will be reviewed. This is according to Acting Registrar of the Medical and Dental Council, Dr. Divine Banyubala.
It is obvious that we need to have a closer look at some of the internal control measures For example, if somebody comes in and then dies, the process of moving the body from the area of care to a temporary holding area, the quality assurance and management systems that are supposed to be in place to ensure that that body moves there without either being mixed up with another body and then moves from there to a mortuary if that is the appropriate place for that body to be kept for them.
Meanwhile, some of these babies are sadly procured and attempts made to traffic them outside the country. For now, the pain and anguish of mothers who suspect that they are victims of this syndicate will continue to hope that justice will be served and such criminals will be rooted out of society.
Watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break, but still ahead. In the bulletin, rating agency Fitch could review Ghana's credit rating of B, saying the high cost of government's debt burden is an important rating weakness. We have that coming up in business. And then the minority is threatening to vote against approval of the 2021 budget unless government addresses its concerns with the policy document. Stay tuned in, we'll be back at a bit stage.
Hello, good evening. It's time for business. I'm Charles Aite. Ratings agency Fitch could review Ghana's credit ratings of B, saying the high cost of government debt load is as important as it could impact the rating weakness. This, it says, will continue to squeeze government other spending priorities. Charles Nixon Yeboah has been looking through the firm's post-budget review on Ghana and has more.
Ghana's credit rating has come under scrutiny basically because of the high rising debt on the economy, and this is what Fitch Ratings has described as an important rating weakness, and clearly they are concerned about our fiscal economy, i.e. spending and revenue. Fitch claims that this is definitely going to affect some of the government spending priorities. So if you look into the 2021 budget, government clearly has outlined some measures to improve the fiscal economy. We won't see much project this year. It's going to be a continuity project. So existing project is what government is going to execute. It is doing this because it wants to be prudent in spending so that it will be able to raise enough revenue to close the financing gap. So this is the challenge that the nation is facing. Last October, Fitch affirmed our ability to borrow at B with a stable outlook. But looking at the situation presently, it appears that if we don't improve our fiscal economy within the next quarter, probably we might be downgraded, and that will not come as a good omen for the nation, because if we are downgraded, it means some investors will have some level of dissatisfaction with the Ghanaian economy, and that could lead to some disinvestment and also effect on our local currency, the Ghana cedi.
Now, Ghana's premier lottery company has rewarded 6 people with some sums of money, with a Shaman-based businessman taking home 20,000 cedis. Here's more.
Star 787 Hash is a lottery company that rewards customers with huge sums of money in their weekly draws. At the presentation of the cash prizes to the winners, George Asari, a businessman from Ashaiman, a suburb of the Greater Accra region, emerged draw 68 with 11 unique prize winner, bagging home 20,000 cedis. He, together with Kofi Bediako, winner of 2,000 cedis, had this to say.
So the guy told me, already we know say 4119 day around. So I don't believe. So daybreak, a sign called me again. Right now they see me there. Make everybody believe the game will be true.
I'm playing as always every week, and then lo and behold, I also hit the jackpot just like everyone did. I'm very happy. I just don't know how to express myself right now. I'm so much happy.
Richard Akotobanfo, head of customer experience, said winners taking home 2,000 cedis each will be rewarded with an amount of 2,000 cedis every month of the year.
So in this month of independence, star 787 has promised that 5 people each week in March will be taking home 2,000 Ghana cedis, and that will not be it. You would equally stand the chance to be paid 2,000 Ghana cedis every month for a full year. Yes, and this is amazing. So far, you have seen the second 5 batch taking home 2,000 Ghana cedis this week. My friend, they are going to be paid 2,000 Ghana cedis for 12 months, which is a full year. This can be your moment. Just pick your phone now, dial star 787 hash, and then also get your ticket. You can win 2,000 Ghana cedis for this Saturday, and equally stand a chance to be paid 2,000 Ghana cedis for the rest of the year, each month. And same tickets also qualify you to win 376,000 Ghana cedis jackpots this Saturday. This can be your turning moment, so take the opportunity now.
Well, the Bank of Ghana has been urged to extend some reliefs banks are enjoying now because of the results of COVID-19. This includes the reduction of primary reserves of banks to 8% from 10%. The MD of Bank of Africa, Kobianda, tells Joy Business that more regulatory reliefs will be enabled for banks to lend more to businesses.
Okay, the reliefs I spoke about were more from the central bank. And some of them we are already enjoying. For example, the reduction in the provision for what we call OLEM accounts to 8%. We are already enjoying it. We are just hoping that it will be extended because I think it was granted for a year. So we are hoping that it will be extended. We're also hoping that the relief the central bank gave us to reduce our primary reserve to 8% would also be extended. I think that has been done actually. I've seen correspondence from the central bank that has been extended, and we asked for an additional relief where it's the same on the primary reserve. What happens is for every deposit you take, you have to put a certain percentage in the central bank, almost like a security deposit in case something happens. I mean, and it's also for liquidity management.
That's how we end business. Sports is up next.
Many thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime Time to bring you the sports. My name is Hans Mensando, and Indiana Stars defender Farouk Adams, he's been granted a bail of 60,000 Ghana cedis with 4 sureties, 1 to be justified. Adams will reappear in court on the 7th of April 2021. Let's go on Zoom now and speak to our Bono regional correspondent, Precious Semevo, to tell us how we've gotten to this point. Thank you very much for joining me, Precious. And fill us in on the details, how the legal team of Adams have been able to secure this bail for him.
All right, so Hans, as we may already be aware, the background of the situation that Adams finds himself in is that on the 1st of this month, March, he was driving from Sunyani to Doma Hinkro, and he is alleged to have hit a police constable, Amos Mate, at Esuotiano in the Doma East District. Now, he is said to have left the police officer there the following day before the police got wind of it. They started their preliminary investigation, and then they arrested him from Doma Hinkro. He was sent to court, 6 counts in all. He was granted 2 weeks bail to appear today. Now, today, when he reappeared at the Bekum Circuit Court, the defense lawyers were able to argue their case out. The judge presiding over the case, Osei Kofi Amwako, finally granted him bail with a sum of 60,000 Ghana cedis, as you rightly said, and with 4 sureties, one of them to be justified, of course, and all his travel documents, were to be surrendered to the court registrar in the interim. That is a position that the defense lawyer were not quite pleased with, but eventually they had to agree to that because it's part of the condition for the bill, to be granted to Farouk Adams. So as it stands now, they have to provide all these things, but they will have to reappear again in court on the 7th of April.
Now, Precious, do you know if Adams has been able to meet the bail conditions and if indeed he's out on bail?
Well, those conditions need to be fulfilled first But the last time that we checked at the Bekum Circuit Court, they were yet to fulfill that. But it is not clear if, as at now, they've been able to fulfill all the conditions. I'm not too sure if this is a condition that it's readily available, unless, of course, the defense were aware of something like this and may have prepared, towards it. Other than that, maybe tomorrow thereabouts, I'm sure we'll find out if they've been able to satisfy all the conditions.
Many thanks, Precious. We'll definitely come to you for more on this particular story, but let's move on and do some other stories. And earlier today, the partnership deal between the Ghana Football Association and Melcom Ghana has officially been launched at the office of Melcom Plus in North Kanishi, Accra. Joy Sport, Mubarak Haruna was there and filed this report.
The deal, which was agreed in November last year, came at a time the GFA was on a branding and marketing spree, securing deals with several corporate organizations. Black Stars coach CK Akono, technical director of the GFA Bernhard Leped, and 3 other local-based players were there to witness the event. GFA boss Keto Kreku believes the partnership shows they are on the right track.
The hard work that we started on the 29th of October 2019 is starting to get the attention of the corporate world. And if Melcom Group today finds the FA as a good partner, it means we are doing something right. And it means we also have something good to offer the consumers of the amazing products that Melcom Ghana offers to the entire country. What this partnership brings to football is special. This partnership will also be enjoyed by our clubs in the Premier League, which is the elite league of Ghana. And this partnership will also be enjoyed by our clubs in the second tier, which is the Division 1 league.
Apart from the Ghana Premier League and the Division 1 League, women's football will also be a beneficiary of the deal. Ghana Women's Premier League Committee Chairperson Hilary Boateng describes the deal as a morale booster.
I think that it's a morale booster, definitely. Apart from Melcom, we also have NASCO, which we know have been there the past season and this one as well, supporting us with Player of the Month, Player of the Match, Coach of the Month as well. And trust me, it's brought about very, very good competition amongst the players, because obviously everyone wants to win it. And you see the passion and the excitement on their faces when they win a TV set. It's brilliant. And it's the same with this. When the ladies went to Melcom, well, some of the clubs, and had their shopping, they sent me pictures.
Well, that's it for this installment. We'll bring you more sports later in the bulletin. My name is Hans Mensando.
It's time for showbiz, and Becky Bex is here. Hello, Bex.
You easy, how you doing?
Well, how about you?
I'm fine, thank you. So earlier this evening, or this afternoon, between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m.
Okay.
I was at the airport to meet Stonebwoy.
Right.
I really wanted to have a conversation about the Grammys and everything that has to do with the Grammys and all of that. So he was in the US, he came back, we met up at the airport. Techno decided to surprise, him because they weren't around, or he wasn't around on his birthday. So they decided to surprise him and tell him that they wanted to...
That's cool.
Yeah, renew his contract. But
oh, really?
Yeah, that's just, by the way. But we spoke. We had the opportunity to speak to Stonebwoy, and he's been telling us all about Grammys. We all want to know exactly what he makes of the conversations surrounding Grammys, and also his take on what we can do as an industry to get Ghana to the next level, or to winning a Grammy.
We can also win a Grammy too.
So here is Stonebwoy's take.
Next to win such prestigious awards, everybody, every musician, any musician, you know what I mean? Once you put in the work and you imply or you implement the things that are necessary, there's a possibility. So that's what I can say about who's going to be the next, And remember that Africa is big. And the category where Burna Boy won, was just created 2 years ago, if I'm not lying, where Angelique Kidjo won the first one and the second one. So this tells you that it is a new category where an opportunity has come now for the whole of Africa, not only Ghana and Nigeria, but the whole of Africa, be it Zimbabwe, be it Tanzania, you know. So everybody is working very hard. So definitely the next could be anybody from anywhere, we can't tell. Yeah. The glory for one African nation is glory for all of us. But it is sweeter when you can say you brought it in or Ghana brought it in. So that's just where I feel that edge that one day, I think it should be us also bringing the glory for the whole of Africa like we have always done. Like being the first country to gain independence, being the first country to win the African Cup of Nations ever, being the first country to do a lot of things. You know, it opened ways for the rest of the people. So that's where I come from. And I want that one day we'll also hold a mantle and be able to bring that glory to Africa, but from Ghana. People have their opinions, but Nigeria is holding it down for all of us right now as we speak.
Yeah. How can we follow suit? There's been a lot of conversations around how we can also get to that point. Some people are saying that we don't support, to the media, we don't support creatives enough, we don't project them in a good light. So many things have come up. But in your view, what do you think we can do as an industry to get there?
I don't have all the answers immediately as you ask me. Okay. But many of the concerns that we have all, or we've all raised are legit. So we just have to follow through. And we, especially I, appreciate the media, the fans, and everybody that has been in support of our industry and our artistry over the years. But like as the saying goes, there's more room for improvement, you know. From the artists ourselves and from the media, there's more room for improvement. That's all I can say. Until we get there, we haven't reached yet. So there are a lot of things that we have to do well to be able to get
Sammy Forcing on Ignition, play Rango. And then,
is that your favorite song?
It's actually my favorite Stonebwoy track.
Okay, I didn't say that. But let's move on. Let's talk about Prince David Osei. You know, he publicly campaigned for the MPP. Yeah. And so apparently Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, Information Minister, says something about paying for the freebies that the people enjoyed, or we enjoyed, in December, I think last year. Yeah. And he wasn't very excited about it. So he came out to say that, see, we publicly campaigned for the, you know, free water and everything. So you shouldn't have, you know, come out to say that you are taxing the public for that. He didn't agree with government. He's just saying that. So I think he got some public backlash here and there from the MPP and some from the NDC. And he's come out this morning to re-explain exactly what he meant by what he tweeted.
All right.
When I heard the information minister say the economy is doing poorly, which we all know, it's been a global meltdown, everybody's feeling it, America, Europe, everywhere. Nobody has been spared in this pandemic. But I was thinking there are other modalities and ways to get this money going. But if you tell them that they have to pay for the water they used last year, the free water they used, if they have to pay for it, because the economy is not doing well, we have to pay salary, wages, and all of that stuff. I understand you, but if you tell them that they have to pay for the water they use, then we are not being fair. It doesn't mean I don't love MPP. It doesn't mean I don't love Nana Akufo-Addo. If you want us to be very fair with each other. During the campaign season, I was very vocal with my friends, my colleagues, my brothers. We went as far as Cape Coast, Taka. We're going to people's homes. We're meeting people, canvassing, preaching the 4 More for Nana agenda, preaching free water, free SHS, preaching all this. And the people looked up to us. Some people voted because of the message we're carrying. We drove. We made sacrifices. Some of us fasted. Some of us prayed. Some of us sowed seed. Some of us did charity just to ensure in our own small way that the president retained power. It's very sad when we live in a nation and we believe in the progress and prosperity of the nation, yet we can't address societal issues.
actor Prince David Osei.
Okay, well, you see, governance works differently. So you may have a feeling about how, so he was drawn into the politics.
Yeah.
And the campaign season and all that. But when it comes to governing,
yeah,
it's a different ballgame altogether. And so the president has to govern. And yes, you may say they may have used some means
yeah,
to get the people to vote for them, but well, we have to govern. And we have to, face whatever situation it is. And it involves more taxes, and that's it.
Am I also paying taxes?
Oh, we all pay taxes.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of money going out.
How much?
I don't know, but it's a lot of money. I could have owned like, what's your favorite car again? Tesla?
Well, a Tesla is one of them, but a Jaguar.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Tina Turner. So she is saying goodbye. It's very sad that she's saying goodbye finally to her fans. Essentially, she's not coming back to perform again.
Oh, really?
She's 81. She's got stroke and she's battling cancer. But she's releasing a documentary about, or a feature about her life. And all the things that we need to know about her. I think it's a beautiful way to bow out, you know, as a legend. And so we have a report here. All right, so...
What's love got to do with it? That's one of my favorite Tina Turner songs.
Yeah, and Izzy, I think that's what we're supposed to be doing as an industry, or as, you know...
The local artists.
You know, you try...
stay on that long.
Yeah, just, you know, do something, you know, leave very nicely. You don't have to just, you know, disappear.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Becky Beck, for bringing us Showbiz.
Anytime.
All right. The minority in Parliament is threatening to block the approval of the 2021 budget if government fails to address its concerns about the policy document. The NDC MPs, among others, are asking for the inclusion of the energy sector payment of 6.2 billion cedis in the fiscal tables to reflect in the corresponding fiscal deficit. They also want government to comprehensively outline how it intends to use the revenues generated from the new taxes and levies. Leader of the NDC caucus, Haruna Iddrisu, at a news conference Thursday, accused government of using illegal means to further burden the ordinary Ghanaian.
We simply are saying that don't just blame COVID. Lack of fiscal prudence, mismanagement of the economy accounted for some of those issues. We note that for the 2019 fiscal year, government reported a fiscal deficit, as I said, of 4.8% of GDP. Whilst at the same time, as confirmed by the IMF in their April 2020 staff report on Ghana, a fiscal deficit of 7.5% of GDP was reported. It means mathematically that about 8.2 billion of some expenditure or debts was concealed. So they want to look good, they spend money, they keep away that expenditure, and international best practice of the fiscal deficit table, there's a standard to it. You must report accurately every expenditure that is done. So we are demanding that the fiscal deficit, including arrears for the 2020, be corrected in the budget statement to reflect the actual figure of some 17.5% of GDP. Because if you add up some of those expenditures, he excludes, for instance, 6.2 billion Ghana cedis, being what government refers to energy sector payments. Are they payments and expenditure or not? Why is it excluded from the computation of the difference between our revenue and our expenditure, when in fact they themselves in the budget admit to 6.2 billion being energy sector payments?
He disagreed with the majority leader over the Speaker's authority to block the approval of the budget. Alban Bagbin is threatening not to send the appropriation bill to the President for his assent, even if it is approved by the House, unless there is agreement on the estimates for the legislature and judiciary. As far as Mr. Idrisu is concerned, the Speaker is clothed with the authority to do so if need be.
We are not confusing the office of the Speaker with Parliament as an institution. If Parliament has no power, then why did you bring a budget to them to approve? So separate and distinguish the office of the Speaker from Parliament as an organ of state that exercises oversight and exercises control over the public purse. Even as we may not be able to increase by practice, we may be able to reduce. I don't think that you are inviting us to say that we'll run down the President's request. We have power to do that. If he says he wants 1.5 billion, we'll tell him we'll give him 1 billion. Parliament does have power to do that. Unless you have a contrary law that I'm not aware of, that Parliament cannot exercise it. You were in whole when I related to the literature of the myths of Parliament being having control of the public purse. You don't compare our Parliament to the sovereign Parliament of Westminster, but don't confuse the office of the Speaker from Parliament. Parliament has every power to take any decision on the budget, and Parliament will exercise same. And note that this Parliament is 137-137. Sure. We will stand strongly together on.
Well, the minority in Parliament is demanding the list of beneficiaries of the 4 million cedis allocated for government communication in the 2021 budget, questioning if the President's cousin, Gabia Sarah-Tredako, is one of them. Speaking during the debates on the 2021 budget, MP for Ningo Pram Sam George questioned why the 4 million Ghana cedis is distinct from the allocation to the Ministry of Information.
For a country that managed COVID so well, the countries that did not manage COVID well are handing out stimulus checks and relief checks to their citizens. Yet the country that managed COVID so well is rather going to tax its citizens for COVID. That is the wonder of the Akufo-Addo government. This is the same government that this year, in Appendix 6, page 241, is allocating 4 million Ghana cedis for government communication. And Mr. Speaker, this 4 million Ghana cedis for government communication is separate from the allocation for the Ministry of Information. Last year, we asked a specific question: which government agency is going to be accessing this money? Last year, it was 6 million Ghana cedis. And I make reference to the 2020 budget on page 233, Appendix 6, line item 16. 6 million Ghana cedis was allocated to government communication. I am at a loss. Apart from the ISD, apart from the Ministry of Communication and Ministry of Information and its agencies, Mr. Speaker, I am wondering if I can, or who these government communicators are. Because we keep seeing several people speak for government and on behalf of government. In fact, one of them, who before coming into government, we want to know if he's still one of the spokespersons making use of this 6 million or going to make use of this 4 million, is Gabia Tredako, who on the 14th of September 2015 posted, if running an economy was all about borrowing your way into an unsustainable debt hole, then any half-wit could be president. We borrowed ourselves into an unsustainable debt hole. Are these the people we are spending 6 million last year and we are going to spend 4 million on to do communication for us? Or even then, running mate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who on the 2nd of December 2015 said, NDC has resorted to increasing taxes under the economic difficulties they created, and MPP government will do differently. Are these now the spokespersons who we are going to spend 4 million of government of taxpayers' money on? We spent 6 million on them last year. We need to know who and which people are benefiting from 6 million Ghana cedis last year and 4 million Ghana cedis this year. We need to know who these people are.
He also observed that the 2021 budget, Christian, moving forward is indeed moving forward, but towards poverty, hunger, and extreme hardship. Now, in other news, the leadership of the governing New Patriotic Party says it will not hesitate to punish erring party members with presidential ambitions, speaking ahead of time, insisting The ban on internal politicking is still in force, and that members would have to desist from announcing their ambitions. The warning comes as names and posters of some individuals aspiring to contest the presidency have emerged in the last few weeks, creating disquiet in the party. Elton Brobe has more in this report.
The New Patriotic Party will go to Congress to elect a presidential candidate in 2023. That may seem far away, but not for those desperate to succeed President Akufo-Addo. The stage appears set for a contest between the Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and the Trade and Industry Minister Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen. But in the last few weeks, other names have emerged as possible contenders for the top job in the country. Former Railway Minister and MP for Esika Doketan in the Western Region, Joe Gate, did not wait for the dust to settle on the December 2020 elections when he declared his intention to run for the presidency.
Because of your last election, I third. Akufo-Addo first, Kyerematen second, I third. 2024. So I will stand for the president of Ghana.
The MPP itself has launched the Break the Eight political cycle, and supporters of the Vice President and Alan Kyerematen are promoting the agenda with high selling points for their respective aspirants. Alan Kyerematen first contested the MPP presidential race in 2007, again in 2010 and 2014, but lost to President Akufo-Addo on all occasions.
As you know, contests between Nana Akufo-Addo and Alan Kyerematen can be likened to the competitive matches between us and Kotoko.
He has yet to formally announce his intention, but also say he's likely to step down from the Akufo-Addo government in 2022 to concentrate on his presidential ambitions. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, is also highly tipped to contest the race. After running with President Akufo-Addo in 2008, 2012, 2016 and 2020, political observers attribute his influence to the good showing of the MPP, especially in the Northern region, in the last two elections. Though unconfirmed for now, but sources say he will run and is already building structures within the party for his bid. Other names making rounds are the Food and Agriculture Minister, Dr. Owusu Afi-Yakoto and Dr. Kofi Kwenedu Apreku.
Now, 26-year-old patient Kyerematen and her two children who suffered burns in an alleged assay at Medoma in the Ashanti region are responding to treatment at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. Her spouse, Kweku Agyeman, who is alleged to have started the fire, also sustained injuries in an attempted suicide and is also receiving treatment under police watch. Nana Ojima went back to the house to find out how the affected families are coping after the tragedy.
17-year-old Dennis Kodia's admission to Ameniampong Senior High School in Mampong was great news for the family. A mother's dream of seeing her son enter another level of education has finally come true. From hawking provisions and detergents she had saved for her son's education, every item on the prospectus had been purchased by the mother, waiting for school to open. But all have been burnt in the fire.
We lost all items I had purchased for my son for school. I am just praying I get support, else my son will not go to school.
A distraught Dennis is worried he might miss out when school opens on Thursday. His mother has lost her business and money to the fire.
Please, for now, God is my hope. I know He will surely help me. Whatever He has said about me, I hope it will surely come. So I believe in God that He can help me. I feel pity for her. I feel very pity for her because she is suffering. She suffered before she can get money. So I feel very pity for her. I became very sad when I heard the news. In fact, I was even surprised at all.
32-year-old commercial driver Kweku Agyeman is alleged to have had frosty relations with her 26-year-old fiancé, Patience Kyerematen. On Tuesday dawn, he allegedly wet a blanket with petrol, lighted it up and sprinkled the petrol all over the 4-bedroom apartment. He then set fire on the fuel for reasons yet to be ascertained. The fire killed his 10-year-old stepson. His fiancée and 2 other children sustained various degrees of injury. They are responding to treatment at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. For Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
it's time for business. The Food and Agriculture Organization has named digitization as its key support for Ghana's full participation in the African Continental Free Trade Area. According to the Deputy Regional Representative for Ghana and Africa, the FAO is working around the clock to attract the youth to facilitate the digitization process. As the youth appreciates technology more, she spoke to my colleague, Emma Davis.
Agriculture production doesn't have to be about back-breaking work in the heat, you know, just pulling down cocoa pods or harvesting maize. There's a whole host of applications, technologies, microtechnologies, solar power, microfinancing that we can draw the youth into. And you know, the youth, as you know, tend to be more agile and facile with technology than older people such as myself. So we need that kind of creativity, that energy, innovation in the agricultural sector to make it more productive.
Yeah, but you see, most youth see agriculture for the rural folks. How do you intend to pull the current youth?
Well, it's a really good question. I don't have the magic answer to that yet, but one of the things that I always say is everybody eats. Yeah. Everybody eats food. Yeah, and true. Most youth are quite interested in food and where their food comes from. Yeah. And so we need to talk about agriculture not as just production, but as all of the packaging of the marketing around it, of the processing of it, and how can we engage the youth so that we do this in sustainable ways. How do we make new packaging for agricultural products that don't pollute, that don't have plastics in them? How do we engage the youth to have mini stock or mini commodity exchanges around whatever it might be, cocoa, coffee, mangoes, anything like this. So I think that people need to start thinking about agriculture not as just food production, but cooking and processing and marketing and things that I think youth are really interested in, because as far as I know, most youth are interested in food. They like food. Mm. They like eating food.
I do like food.
Yeah. Yes, my kids like eating food too. And so we need to show them that, you know, there are all these things behind the food that you see on your plate that are areas where we can employ and engage them in a very meaningful and interesting way.
Some traders whose structures were demolished at the Central Market to pave way for the construction of the second phase of the Kejitia redevelopment project are currently stranded at Racecourse as to where to do the trade. There is more in this report.
According to traders, the allocated site at the Racecourse Market is not fit for trading. They argue the city authority relocated them without a well-structured plan to aid their business activities.
We were hoping a place for trade would be given us before the eviction, just like in the days of former President Kufuor. We are disappointed the president's representative in this region has treated us this way. They just directed us to this land, that we can build a market ourselves, even in our current state. We are devastated. Some of us are crying and troubled. Even the stall given me is very small.
A leader of the traders, Nana Kwabnatre Donko, says they are disappointed in the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly and the Ashanti Regional Minister for failing to address the concerns of the traders.
Look at the treatment given to us by the KMA. This is just a bare land given to us. We don't even have any money to start.
Public Relations Officer for KMA, Afia Kredu, claims the traders opted for that section of Racecourse Market.
They were supposed to be at Afia Kobi, but they said they prefer this place because they think that it's closer to the Central Business District. And then currently we are doing this demarcation in conjunction with the market managers from Central Markets. The dimensions were given by the Central Markets manager, who has the original dimensions in which they were seated in at the place that has been demolished. So that was what was taken into recognition, and this was done.
Chairman of the Utensils and Plastic Sellers Association, Chain Moses, however, disagrees. He says the KMA opted to relocate some of the traders to the racecourse due to the large numbers.
It is not like an issue that we, the traders, insisted that we are coming here, but that was the only option left to the MC or the assembly, because even this number that we are talking about, we, the Utensils Sellers Association, we are 398. Whether the jewels sellers are also 144. So the 350 shops that we are even talking about here cannot even contain the Utensils Sellers Association alone. So what Fiakuneo, the PRO, just said, it's not the truth.
Obi Deshie Ofori Amam for reporting for Joy News.
Now, an energy consultant, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, wants governments to consider partnerships with the private sector to develop the industry whilst reducing the rising debt. Let's listen to him.
But I think we need two ways. Government partnership, looking for partnership, vibrant partnership into the refinery to inject some amount of capital. The refinery actually requires capital injection. But even that, with the configuration of the current refinery, with the CDU and then the RFCC. See, the RFCC is noted as a cash cow. It is not all refineries that have this RFCC. They call it cash cow because whatever is churned out as a byproduct of the CDU, that's the primary unit, it is fed into the RFCC. And bear in mind, this RFCC, it was able to pay its debt within a period of 7 years. They started operating in 2003. By 2009, it has paid 90% of its debt. It is just unfortunate that after 2009-2010, the refinery ran into serious problems. And I can tell you, for the past 2 years, on record, you can check, that RFCC has not run. So how will we have cash flow in the refinery when the cash cow called RFCC hasn't run for the past 2 years? And when you ask, you'll be surprised that they will attribute this to raw materials. And so that's what people don't understand. And that refinery is like machinery. If you leave it down for that long, the time you need it, you might not be able to have it back. It will be very difficult because they are rotating equipment. And so if you don't get them running and then you leave them down, you are pushing them to a mode of, it can become obsolete. And so going forward, I think the starting point is what the energy minister did. I will need leadership. Leadership commitment is key. A political leadership commitment for this matter is key to getting the refinery back on its toes.
That's how we end business. I'm Charles Aite. Sports is up next.
Many thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime Time to bring you the second installment of sports. And after several days of speculation, we now know which players have been called up by Black Stars head coach CK Akono for the upcoming AFCON 2021 qualifiers against South Africa and again against Sao Tome and Principe. So those are the players who have been called up. Goalkeepers Richard Ofori, Razak Abalora, Eric Ofori-Ntwi and Dan Lad Ibrahim, who starred for the under-20 when they won the under-20 AFCON in Mauritania. Fullbacks Baba Abdurrahman makes a return to the side. Gideon Mensah, the youngster Benson and Philemon Bafo of Dreams FC. The central defenders are Nicholas Opoku, Kasim Nuhu, Ganiyu Ismail, and Steven Ambrosius of Hamburg in Germany. In central midfield, he's called on Mohamed Kudus, Mubarak Wakasu, Efri Akwa, Emmanuel Omote, Idrisu Baba of Mallorca, Glasson Awaka of Great Olympics, and Kwame Efri Poku of Colchester United in England. At left back, he's called Osman Bukari of Ghent and Joseph Esso of Dreams FC. Right attacking midfield, he's got Kamal Soa and Fatau Isahaku, the best player at the just ended under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. And in attack, he's called on Emmanuel Boateng, Emmanuel JC of Spezia in Italy, Kwame Opoku of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, John Ntwi of Pyramids, formerly of 11 Weiss, and also Kwesi Otri Wright of Willem in Holland, and Caleb Kuban, who plays for Trabzonspor. So those are the players who have been called up by Black Stars head coach CK Akono for the upcoming AFCON 2021 qualifiers against South Africa and Sao Tome. Let's get into some amateur boxing, and the Black Bombers have intensified preparation ahead of the 2020 Olympics, which comes off in Tokyo this summer. Joy Sports' Nathaniel Atto has been speaking to Coach Asare and the skipper of the Black Bombers, Suleiman.
What I have to say is now it's very closer to competition. It's left about less than 4 months, and we are still training, but we are not getting enough competitions. At least if we are getting training tours, it will be helping us. Or we're supposed to be in camping early so that we can be a very, very good trend. Because Olympics game is not easy tournament, and to win Olympics gold medal, you have to prepare yourself very, very well and focus on your mind. So we are appealing to the government or any company to come and support us. What we need now is support and motivate.
We have 2 boxers qualified, and we know very well that we have something in our head, because Tokyo is where one of our past boxers won medal, Eddie Blay. And so we have history in Tokyo, which we need to go and then repeat. And that is our wishes. And when we look at this recent world ranking, the recent world ranking to our performance has put us into a position. Especially we have about 8 of our boxers ranked in the world, which is the first time in history of Ghana. And we still have a chance of qualifying more boxers, at least 2 or 3 more. So it means going to Tokyo, we may be able to have about 4 or 5 boxers, which means we've cut our net wide. And with that, it means we have to make sure that we come home with medal. So we are looking at all these things, and so we are very, very careful in our training. But we are putting all the measures in terms of their physical preparation as well as technical and tactical preparation. So we are working, and we hope to get.
Let's do some more boxing. And Alfred Lamte's world title dreams has received a major boost from after Ashfom's pledge to offer continuous financial support. The talented boxer is currently the holder of the UBO and WABU featherweight titles. Here is a Joy Sports report.
8 bouts, 6 knockouts, and undefeated. Alfred Lamte is a world title prospect. The Baden boxer is now the holder of the Universal Boxing Organization and West Africa Boxing Union featherweight titles after making light work of veteran George Krampa on March 6. Nicknamed Bukum Bomber, Alfred Lamte has presented the 2 titles. Here is Marketing and Communications Manager Nanaya Ampim Dakwemchi.
I think the last bout is for those who have seen it, and especially my guys who have seen it. They said, you, Alex, you put a promoter, you put a boxer there who is the father of the boy. You wanted him to beat him, or like, we don't know. But the guy really, dismantled the boxer. It's another step, to confirm that indeed we have a star in this guy coming. And for us as a corporate organization, we want to say that we will give our fullest support to this guy. Yeah. Yes, all that we are looking for is that, and we keep advising that one person, we have always been motivated by the fact that if we are, through our youth development, scheme, if we're able to support one individual, from nowhere to somewhere, I think we are very much happy, and I think we would have contributed to sport, we would have contributed to national development, and we would have contributed to lifting one person whose impact would have had, on a lot of people in the country.
CEO of Box Office Promotions, Alex Ntiama, is grateful to Ashfom for their financial support. He believes Alfred Lamte will live up to expectations.
We say we thank them very much for what they have started. And like he said, they are now fully assuring us that they are supporting the boy to the highest level. I'll make sure as a promoter, whatever I need to do for this relationship to soar very high, I'll do that so that it will be something that other corporate organizations can look up upon, so that they can also come to help boxing.
Ashfome presented an undisclosed amount of money to Alfred Lamptey during the title presentation ceremony.
And that's it for sports. We take a break here on Joy News Prime. My name is Hans Mensand.
And that'll be it for Joy News Prime for this evening. But I want you to visit myjoyonline.com, where we have a lot more stories that you can get to read. One of them being eyewitness narrates how armed robbers killed top Islamic cleric Ali Ahmed Maikano. We also have Ghana recording 2 new COVID-19 variants. Experts are calling for immediate action. Then government spent 1.7 billion cedis on COVID. Joy News checks reveal. Also on myjoyonline.com, judge orders lawyers in Asing North MP's dual citizenship case to submit proposed issues for hearing. That's it. I'm Israel. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.